Hey everyone, Andy Rafael from eTeknix.com, and today sees the launch of the 3060 Ti's from NVIDIA. And we've got 3 of them. So let's do this.
Are you finding yourself building and repairing PCs all the time?
Yes.
Are you always misplacing your Swiss Army knife that hopefully has a Phillips head screwdriver on it?
All of the time.
Well, you're in luck. The eTeknix PC Maintenance Toolkit is here, and it has everything you need to build and repair PCs. It even has an Allen wrench for custom loop fittings. Yes, it actually does have a use. Head over to the eTeknix store to find out more in the link in the description below. Tweets are sold separately.
So as you can see on the table, I've got 3 3060 Ti's. I have been told on good authority that there's going to be stock shortages. So if you are looking at going out and buying one, go and do it now and come back to this video. Although it's kind of a hard situation to be in purely because, well, you can't go out and buy one until you know how it performs. But then if you watch this video or check out other reviews to see how it's going to perform, you're probably going to be too late and not be able to buy one. It's just been an absolute kind of, shit show from the beginning. Not just with this, AMD are in exactly the same boat. So yeah, stick with me though. Let's talk about what cards we've got here. So we've got the ASUS Tough Gaming OC, we've got the MSI Gaming X Trio, and we've got the Gigabyte Gaming OC. As you would expect, they are all based around different price points. They all have good characteristics and bad characteristics. So let's talk about the ASUS to start with. I mean, cooler-wise, we've seen this cooler before. It's the tough gaming cooler that we've seen on the 3070, 3080. It's everything that you'd expect. It, I guess, kind of is the previous generation Strix cooler, and just with tough branding on it. It's really quite simple. When it comes to the MSI Gaming X Trio, we've seen this before. There's nothing really to go over. It's a trio, it's got 3 fans. And then the Gaming OC, always kind of that sweet spot when it comes to value for money. But how do they actually perform? Well, that's why we're all here, right? So let's take a look at that and run those glorious benchmarks. So there's the results, and I will sort of, I guess, go through them in a little bit more detail, but let's compare these cards, at least from a physical standpoint. How do they kind of differ? Well, there are a few similarities, there are a few things that kind of separate them. So starting with a BIOS switch, these two cards actually have BIOS switches on them. The MSI one doesn't. And I kind of get that because the MSI Gaming X Trio, generally you're going to pay a little bit more for because it is generally the one with the better cooler. So it is a little bit quiet. So why does it need a quiet mode as standard? Kind of makes sense. When it comes to the coolers though, they all, look very, very similar. This has 3 fans on it. This has 3 fans on it. This has 3 fans on it. So why would you buy this one over this one or this one over that one? Well, there are a few other differences. So the Tough Gaming OC comes with a single 8-pin connector. So in theory, it's probably going to be more compatible with, let's call them lower end power supplies. With the Gaming X Trio, it has 2 8-pins. With the Gaming OC, it has an 8-pin and a 6-pin. So power delivery wise, you could probably see where the similarities lie and where they end. Obviously, this one, in theory, is going to use more power. And as you saw from the benchmark results, well, it did. So there's that. The other kind of key difference that you will see, and especially with the MSI Gaming X Trio, is it's a chunky card. It's big, it's tall, it's long. It's not that much longer than a Tough OC, but in comparison to the Gigabyte Gaming OC, you can see this is a much smaller card. It's slimmer, it's not as long, it's just, yeah, it's going to be the one that's going to fit in the majority of cases. You're not going to have to worry about measuring it and things like that. And this is kind of a gripe that I have with a lot of manufacturers, the fact that they just take the same cooler and strap it on here. We all remember ASUS with the 20 series and the Strix, no matter whether you went for a 2080 Ti, a 2080, a 2070, even a 2060, it was the same size bloody card. Now, when it comes to connectivity options, obviously every card has, well, slight differences there. So with the Gigabyte Gaming OC, you'll see that it has 2 HDMIs and 2 DisplayPorts. The MSI, ever so slightly different. The ASUS actually comes with more connections. So this may sort of appeal to some people. For most though, I guess most people, if they're buying this card, they're just going to be running a single display. Probably 1080p or 1440p for that kind of high refresh rate gaming. So that's really not going to come into it. When it comes to RGB, if that's your bag, you have a small amount of RGB on the Tough OC. You have a small amount on the Gaming OC. The MSI does have the most with this bar at the top and obviously what's on the front of the cooler as well. Now, what about specs of the cards? Because while we look at performance, you can kind of deduce what that means in terms of the boost speeds. So out of these 3 cards, the bottom one is the ASUS with a boost clock speed of 1755 MHz. The Gigabyte slightly ahead at 1770, and the MSI just tears ahead at 1830. I mean, it's like having a car. If you've got a car and it's 700 brake horsepower and someone else has a 400 brake horsepower car, guess which one's going to be faster? It's pretty simple. The faster card in terms of boost speed generally would be expected to be the faster card. But that's not necessarily true with the way that boost works. So the way that boost works all comes down to if you have the power headroom and if you have the temperature headroom. So that's kind of where the Gigabyte card, well, it kind of surprised us. So in terms of synthetic benchmarks, the MSI did come out on top. So this is pretty much what we expected. The faster card came out on top. The Gigabyte did actually follow very closely, considering, its boost clock is quite a dramatic amount lower. Now, with a lot of the benchmarks, you could actually argue margin of error between the Gigabyte and also the MSI. But Gigabyte did pull ahead in Borderlands 3, Far Cry, and a few other little benchmarks. When comparing to other cards, in most cases, these beat the 2080 Supers. They fall slightly behind on the 2080 Ti, and this is expected due to the 11GB memory versus 8GB memory on the 3060 Ti's. If you're a generation jumper, you'd be pleased to know that in comparison to a 1080 and a 1080 Ti, it beat them in pretty much every aspect. So if you are one of those generation jumpers, you're actually going to be in a really good situation because you're going to be able to skip past the 20 series and buy one of these. Well, you're not going to be able to buy one of these because obviously they're not available because stock issues. But you will be able to, obviously, when they are available, buy one of these. And in theory, you're going to get quite a large jump over what you've had before if you're on a 1080 or a 1080 Ti, or even lower than that. So what about pricing on these cards? Well, pricing on the Founders card is $399 US, or we've worked it out to be about £358. The MSI card is coming in at £449. So when we saw the price of the MSI card, it actually made us realise that maybe the conversion we did between US dollars to pounds on the Founders Edition card was kind of out of sync a little bit. And you're probably going to be expecting that at £399 as well. Thank you very much, VAT. We wasn't actually given pricing on the Gigabyte Gaming OC or the ASUS TUF OC, at least in time for this video, but if we have got it, it will be in the link in the description below over for our full reviews on all of these cards. Now, it still obviously does offer great value for money, but I am a little bit on the fence about things, purely because with the 3000 series, it does seem like they are very well priced in comparison to the 20 series, which was very inflated in price. When you look at the 10 series, when that launched out, well, they were about the similar kind of price range as, what we've got with the 3000 series. So how do these actually compare with MSRP cards of previous generations? So going all the way back to a 1080, that was $599 at launch. The 1080 Ti was $699. The 2080 Super at $699. 2080 Ti at $999. And then the bigger brother for this coming in at $499. So it is very well priced. And the problem that I have there is these are MSRP prices. And at the moment, when you look at retailers and kind of what they're doing with these cards, because of the stock shortages, well, they're just simply not selling for those prices. So where does that kind of leave things? And I knew as soon as I made this video, and I know what's going to happen, there's going to be people who haven't watched this all the way to the end, and they're going to be commenting saying, that you can't actually buy these cards, and what's the point of these videos, and why do I have 3 of these cards? Well, the point is that you can make a well-informed decision so that when these cards are available, if you have missed the boat on this one, you're going to be able to say, yes, I know exactly which one I want. I want the ASUS TUF OC, or I want the Gigabyte Gaming OC, or I want the MSI Gaming X Trio. You're going to have all of that information readily available to you, and you can make that well-informed decision when stock is available. So yeah, hopefully that helps. I know it's not the best situation to be in, but at least we have something new on the market, kind of. So there you go, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, you know exactly what to do. And yeah, I guess I'll see you in the next one. And let us know what you think of the new set. We changed things up just a little bit. Cheers, guys. See you later. Bye-bye.